This is Vampyr. We're here on Xbox Series X, where the game has received a very surprise next-gen upgrade. So on Xbox Series X, we're now getting 1440p at 60 FPS with auto HDR support. So this is really exciting because I just revisited the game a few months ago, and I was like, oh, it's a good game, it's really cool, it's got a neat story, but, frame rate wise, it could be a little bit better. And I just did not expect this game to get this sort of support. I was really blown away by it. I was like, oh, wow, okay, cool. Nice of Don't Nod to, go back and make this happen. It is kind of exciting. So, yeah, it's very smooth, it's well running, it's just an update that applies, and it just, kind of improves the game. It makes the frame rate feel good. Feels really smooth, it's nice. So in the story, you are in London, 1918. You are a newly turned vampire, Dr. Jonathan Reid. As a doctor, you must find a cure to save the city's flu-ravaged citizens. But as a vampire, you are cursed to feed on those you vowed to heal. What? So yeah, there's this big thing of being like, hey, I'm a doctor, Jim, but you're supposed to save people, right? You're supposed to help people, but instead you've become this murderous thing that needs to feed. And that's really interesting, as you don't necessarily have to actually feed on people, but you can kind of choose to. So you go about doing these missions. It's like a bit of an RPG type of experience, where you're making these, choices in who you attack and who you kill and who you deal with. So, I don't know, say there was a person here. I could kill them, but it might be smarter to think about who these people are, because your kills actually can interact and harm the local area you're in. So there might be a person here that you interact with, and they could sicken the health of this particular region, and they could very well, kind of poison the location and directly change things. Now, that being said, by you killing people, you're actually becoming more powerful. So you as a vampire are able to do more advanced weapon attacks, more skills, more vampiric abilities, which is quite cool. And you do it over this decently large city. There's some other places you head out to, but you kind of explore this neat spot. Here we go, there's some people. That's what I was kind of looking for, was some of these, humans to kill. But some of them regular folks, but some of the people are just regular citizens doing their day-to-day. And you're kind of basically choosing, should I kill this person? You make these choices and you change the area based on your decisions. It's really quite neat. And I loved how they did that, because I found it to be quite fascinating. Even from the first time I saw it at E3 many years ago, like a presentation, I was like, this sounds like a really, really cool experience. And I think it could be a lot of fun to dive into if you're kind of wondering about those sort of thoughts. And you're basically also talking to people too. You are a doctor. You're trying to do, detective-like work to figure out what's going on with this disease. You visit all of these unique locations. You deal with all these problems, and it's just got a really interesting, unique story. It's got some neat twists and turns to what's going on. And I just thought it was a really neat adventure, as you kind of, discover the mystery of, hey, what abilities do you have? And also, B being well, I'm a doctor. So we've got to, the goal is to help people, but we also need to do our thing with it. And there's lots of different creatures and different things that you will, engage in, and little surprises that you will have happen. And you can basically, I'm trying to find a human that I can sort of take somewhere and show off me consuming them. But I think I literally did that last time I did a video of this on the Series X, as I've consumed most of the people here that are regular folks. Yeah, I literally, oh, here we go. Hello there. So you can talk to people, and you can get an idea of what they do, how important they are, their character. And it's neat because it's will you embrace the monster? Will you survive and fight against things? There's hunters, there's creatures. It's really neat as your decisions directly impact and kind of alter the land of London. And I just thought that was really, really cool and really intriguing. And I quite like this one. And now to have, you know, this frame rate stuff, I think that's really exciting. So we're gonna do the mesmerization, because I don't care about any of these guys. It's just some save that I don't like keep saving over. I don't know, like I've beat the game and everything like that, so it doesn't really matter. But you know, you can engage with this really interesting story, and I think have a lot of fun with it. And you just do these crazy things, and you get these bigger abilities, and you interact with all these people, and it's just a fun game. It's an interesting game. I quite liked it. I found it to be quite intriguing. I think it looked pretty good. And I think with this update, it really does fix, for me, a lot of the issues and stuff. It makes it run well. I think it offers a lot of new ways to kind of enjoy this experience. And just having this, you know, higher frame rate, I think that's a big way to kind of make it easier for people to be like, okay, I'm going to dive into it now and take a look at it. Because the combat's going to feel better, the gameplay movement's going to feel better. It's nice that, once again, they took the time, so many years later, to actually go and support this game. And it wasn't one that I expected to see this sort of thing with. I really just assumed, you know, that's why I did a video showcase on this not too long ago, because I was like, well, you know, this is what you get for this one, and that's kind of just how it is. And I was alright with that. I mean, I thought it was still a worthy game to play. But I think, you know, it's kind of fun now. Ooh, is she a special mesmerizer? Okay.
You look ill, Miss Wanderer. I wonder if your concoction will do.
Like, would you not notice that this guy's like a straight-up vampire? Very pale and tired.
Goodbye, Miss Wanderer.
Yeah, anyways, so it's got this unique story to it that's pretty lengthy. You know, it offers a lot of unique scenarios for you to enjoy, people for you to battle with, challenges for you to tackle. There are side stories you can do as well, and there's other weird things that you can get up to as you explore this city. I don't know, I
cannot enter.
I just really liked what this one was. I think it's cool. I wish we had more similar games to this, if that makes sense. I'd love to see a follow-up to this one, and I wonder if them supporting it long-term kind of maybe might suggest that slightly. But, you know, just the concept of you going about in this, like, place, this really lost sort of location, you know, doing these different vampiric things is pretty cool, and they give you some fun abilities and that. I think, you know, if they were to follow up with something else beyond this, I would really love to see them, you know, kind of play around with the abilities you have to a higher degree, because I think that would be really neat. You might even come across some more boss-like type things, as you're not the only creature of the night. I mean, this is a type of scenario that you find yourself in where, hey, you know, there definitely are others like you. There's lots of different challenging areas for you to visit, creatures for you to take out, battles for you to have. It's just really intriguing. Was that guy doing a T-pose over there? That's kind of funny. I don't know. I just find it to be really engaging and crazy looking, right? Like, that's pretty neat, your little abilities there. And you basically just like this doctor that just is much more than a doctor. You are one seriously powerful dude that is, you know, out on a noble quest that gets roped up into the worst of scenarios, and you have to figure out what exactly is happening. That's the biggest thing, right? Is like, you literally were not a vampire, you just happen to do that, and you have to be like, whoa, things are not going well, and you figure out your abilities slowly. You figure out these other things you have happening to you, and then you also have to be like, well, I've got to cure things, I've got to deal with stuff, and you got to be like, well, you know, you don't necessarily want other people to know what's happening to you, right? Because you're just this, well, noble type individual that is a doctor that's meant to be saving lives of everyone, and yet you're running around killing everything. I don't think we can actually... Can we go to the West End right now? I think the West End is, like, closed off from this perspective. See, there's so many, like, little doors and areas that work, because we went down here, didn't we? There's so many little doors and stuff that are kind of, like, blocked off right now due to, like, kind of some of my progression and whatnot.
Locked, all right.
Yeah, I think that is, of course, that's the way through there. Unbelievable. It seems like the world isn't that big, but trust me when I say they actually do use it to its full, you know, advantage and whatnot. They actually play around with some of the the neat concepts and whatnot in the game, like just in regards to how you go through these areas and how you improve your skills over time and the different challenges you have to take to kind of get there. It's a neat experience. It really is. I think it's something that you can actually have a fair bit of fun battling in, discovering its secrets, finding out some of the other things that are going on here. Oh, so this door has been unlocked. Okay, well, can we go anywhere here, or is it just like a money little area? I think it's just like a little money area. Yeah, of course it is. Sorry, there's like so many areas I've already been to, and it's not my latest save. My last save is actually where I'm on the final island type area. There's like a final place you go to. And obviously that's quite a bit different than the scenarios that we're dealing with here. We're kind of dealing with this gloomy landscape where these people are not too friendly towards us, needless to say. I wonder... Okay, so this way, where does this go? So this goes up into that area. This goes over down into this area. So that's kind of where I think I want to head if we can get there. I don't know if that gate's going to open for me, because we ran by here. I'm mostly just trying to show off some different areas. But this is like a pretty, you know, common, intense area of conflict, usually. You'll find a bunch of guys to fight in, and there might be like a quest or two that you pick up along the way. I think the last time we did a Series X video showing this off, there was like a whole little quest thing I did with somebody, and you know, that was like a fun little thing just to kind of showcase some of the narrative bits, but just kind of wanted to show off some of the talking and some of the moments where you come across people and be like, hello there. How are you doing? Because it's just kind of cool seeing the decay of the environment. Like, some of the places are nice, but you might kill someone, like I mentioned earlier, and then it becomes a little bit worse. Or, you know, the land gets taken out, and it becomes a little bit less friendly of a place for you to visit. But the biggest thing here that we're trying to display is that, you know what, frame rate wise, it's just it's a lot better, right? Like, it's been improved a lot. It feels nice with the fluidity of it, and it just helps with this very gloomy, cool place. Like, I love the style of this environment. I think there's like a morgue you go through too, because it does some RPG elements. Like, it doesn't heavily lie into them, but it's like, you know, you do need to be able to handle more hardcore vampiric type things if you want to be successful with the threats that are going on here. And I always thought that was kind of intriguing. But there is also like this higher class too. You know, more noble type people that you interact with. There was like a really cool theater type situation you had to go into at one point, which was kind of cool.
I should investigate.
Skull voices in the Guardian, that's never going to be a good thing. Ow. Oh wow, okay. Can't say I much appreciate your attacks there, my friends. But yeah, you just figure out the missions, you do the different objectives. I'm just going to show off some more like combat and scenarios that we go to. But overall, I just think it's a game that's definitely worth playing. It's really quite cool. I think it was maybe a little underrated, or somewhere where people didn't necessarily give it the full chance that they should have, because it is something that is really, really quite cool. I mean, you're a vampire. We don't get enough cool vampire games, and we definitely don't get enough where it's like, hey, we're trying to tell an interesting story here. Like, Don't Not always has really great storytelling. And I think that was also the case with this one, just a bundle of fun to play.
It's locked.
There's one of them! Watch yourselves! Christ, he's dead! Steady, boys! Got him here!